and to fights on the. I've enjoyed going on to the Masterson program and making a trained professional comedian scream his head off, cutting off his jokes before they even happen. It's been a pretty fun week, Jim. How's yours been?
Oh well, I've been trying to catch up on it. There were like eight or nine streams that seemed to follow simultaneously after one another. So I watched one after the other, trying to get caught up.
It's like 40 hours of insane fucking bullshit.
Yeah, it's a season. It's a fucking season. Yes, that took place in 2 days.
In 2 days. In 2 days, a whole new arc, a whole new way into the future. It's a whole new world order of blood sports, brother. Oh, fuck. So usually, you know very little about these things. Sometimes you say you don't know much about it. What have you seen so far, Jim? What's been your general impression?
Well, for me, this started with, I think his name is Jesse from Pod Awful.
Yeah.
Trying to do gay shit by clipping some screen caps, leaving out names and icons to get me to comment on them. Which, if the material's funny, I would have commented on it. But what got to me was the fact that the reply directly below it, the one that he liked, was like, "Oh, Jim's never going to say anything about that. He won't talk about his internet friends," which made no sense to me, because if it's Mundane Matt you're trying to get me to laugh at, I'd say it'd be very far-fetched to consider him my internet friend. So I thought that was a little gay, and I called it out as being gay. And that devolved into Jesse, I guess, coming on to the kill stream, because I was trying to figure out exactly what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
And then Dick and him went at it, so I just kind of muted myself and let them have their thing. And I think I got like one question in.
Yeah.
And then, the next day, there were, like I said, there were like 8 streams. So I watched, Ralph got really drunk. And then that was kind of the end of that stream. And then I saw Masterson on Ricada, and you go on there, and then there was the big screaming match, and I got a good portion through that. So that's about where I'm caught up on. And then I've been watching people talk about it all day. But I heard you say you wanted to talk to me, so yeah. I decided I'd come on and talk to you.
Well, I wanted to talk to you, Jim, because nobody seems to be able to give me a straight answer about the questions I'm asking to try and get to the truth. But I'll just break down for you a little bit of basically what my perspective on this has been. So we saw Jesse run his gay op on you, which, if anybody is familiar with your past behavior and history, the worst possible way to get Jim to cover something is to try and trick him or fool him or run a gay op to get him to cover it, because that's not going to happen.
Well, I was more annoyed with the fact of the personal army shit. Like, if you want me to laugh at something, present something that's funny, but don't try to like trick me into being your attack dog or your cudgel. That happened with JF. I mean, there's a lot of funny fucking shit about JF, and I'd had a grand old time talking about him fucking potatoes, but I'm never going to do it because people wouldn't shut the fuck up about it.
Well, the crowdists were going. But what are you going to do? So, I understand what your reaction was, and it seemed to be in character for you. And when you went on to that stream the next night, you weren't a super active participant, You were just kind of observing what was going on. And so this happens. Jesse does his fucking thing. So I see these DMs, and to be honest with you, like, they're 43 pages long, like 45 pages of bullshit. And they are funny.
Oh, yeah, no, there's definitely some funny shit in there. I mean, I like the I'm going to fuck you rough and hard, or I'll do it gentle like a novel. Yeah. And then the thing about the wings, like I said, if you just put them out there, there's funny shit in there to laugh at. But if you try to like hide it as being something else and like, do this personal army shit, it just kills it. It kills the entertainment value for me.
So I can see where you're coming from on that, Jim. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I think everybody is in agreement that your behavior up until that point is perfectly fine and it makes sense. Do you know what I mean? But my problem comes with all the other people who immediately jump and say, like, no, these aren't a mansion, even though it's 3-bedroom and 2-bath, just because it's a $1 million home in LA.
Well, yeah. Like, I don't get me wrong. There's a lot of funny shit to this, and I'm not going to come on here and deny that. I mean, I saw the Ricada and Masterson and Ustream, and there was some funny shit in there. I think Dick handled it quite poorly. The I'm the prom king thing. he still sticks with me. But
what is he thinking?
But I mean, to be fair though, it's it's Ralph's stream. That's kind of how he runs it. I mean, shit, I can remember when Destiny would come on and he'd have fucking 7 or 8 people doing that shit to him, and
Well,
he'd kind of walk it off.
Yeah, I just think it's kind of gay behavior, and it fits in with everything else that's been going on, where it seems like we have to cover up for Dick because Dick pays us. Dick's payment processor pays us, and what the main thing.
That's what I was curious about. So okay, I want to try to figure out. I mean, I like the bit, right? So I'm not going to try to kill it, but what exactly is the cover up? Like what or if you could put it like this is happening because of this, like what is being covered up specifically, do you think?
Well, I just think what it is that Dick might have said to people, maybe not explicitly, but it's implied that, you should defend me. It's good for your career. You'll get further. He said something to that effect to Jesse, cooperate, you'll get further in your career. And right away when I hear people talk like that, I just think it's slimy and shady and fucking weird.
Did Jesse post any of that?
Huh?
Did Jesse post any of that? If Dick's like putting out bribes, did Jesse put video or audio or screen caps up of it?
Well, no, Jesse has got fuck all. Jesse's an idiot. Jesse got crushed because he sucks and his ops are gay. And I went on his program and I wasn't super impressed with the sort of person that he is. Putting it behind a paywall, this shit. But that's besides the point. What I think is being covered up here is just very simple, is that people don't want you asking questions about why they're defending Dick Masterson when they have very explicit financial ties to him. And I think what's more important than the financial ties is that, in order to get onto New Project 2, correct me if I know you have one, but do you not have to give Dick Masterson a lot of personal info about yourself, like your social security number, so you can have a 1099, like your full name, your address?
So yeah, so when I got invited on a New Project, because my Patreon went down after the tranny video. So I went over to what is it, the Russian guys one, Subscribestar, and then New Project, right? And New Project, it goes through like a third party thing. You fill out your details and it goes through them. Whether Dick has that or not, I have no fucking clue.
So what info? Just because I'm struggling to get a straight answer from people on this, and
the info he'd have from me would be my corporation's ID number, the registered agent.
So you're saying
the corporation
you filed it
mailing
under a corporate LLC in order to
I did that on a lot of places, of course.
Okay. So you're saying that Dick has very little access to your info. I mean, he could still find out who you are because you can trace the LLC, but...
Well, you could find out who I am by watching a Toothless Meth Head on YouTube, or reading Encyclopedia Dramatica, or going to Kiwi Farms.
So in your particular instance, your exposure is a lot less than what a lot of other people would be, because you've already been doxxed. You've already had all this fucking bullshit happen to you. And so it's not that big. And for you when you do a stream, you make a lot more in one stream than I think $700, right?
Yeah, I'd say on average, yeah, that's a fair statement. I'm trying to think. I don't know everybody that's on New Project 2, but my info's out there. I know Ralph's info is definitely out there. Josh is out there. Josh, just because of the nature of what Josh does, his shit's been out there for eternity. The only one I'm unsure of, I guess, is Dode McKinley.
So it just seems interesting to me, because I mean, of course, his social security number isn't out there for everybody to know Josh's sin or anything like that.
I'm pretty sure Josh goes through an LLC too. I don't know about Ralph or Toad. I mean, it's not like I can ring them up and ask them. I don't really talk to these people, but I would think that they'd go through an LLC unless they're fucking retards.
Well, the only thing I'd have to say to counter that, Jim, is that it is somewhat expensive to form an LLC, right? Like if you do the paperwork yourself, it's like $500, right? And then
it's like $400 or $500. Yeah, I mean, there are ways to do it.
If you hire a lawyer, it'll be more, though. Sure.
It depended on the state too that you go through. If you want to cover up the paper trail, yeah. If you want to do it in your home state, or you want to go to something like Montana to do it, yeah, there are differences, sure.
So what I'm saying is that a lot of people who especially are in a vulnerable situation financially going on a new project too, because they've been kicked off a lot of other payment processors or sites, you know, because they're on new project too. They may not have the financial resources or the wherewithal that you had to form a private LLC, right? And so for them, their information would be exposed and would be held by Dick. And that's just the point I'm trying to make, is that, you know, if Dick has access to their info and he has the right to refuse service at any time, he can, you know, disable your payments. And when you look at the privacy policy of New Project 2, it's not even fully filled in. And even if it was, Dick says, you know, terms and conditions agreements mean nothing. You know, and it's true that they mean nothing, but, you know, he's just blatantly saying that, and his privacy policy isn't even fully filled out. And he says that he is able to keep your information forever, as long as it's for administrative or security or legal reasons. So that means basically he can keep any of your info. He can sell any of your info to anybody. And so I just think that that's a lot of leverage to have over people, especially when you're not some like faceless corporate entity. You're a person with your own, you know, petty grievances or vendettas that can then be taken out on other people. And I just think that it's very suspicious that these people, all with New Project 2 accounts, all came to Dick's defense all at the same time. Particularly Josh, who's just running like, I just don't understand why he's doing all this damage control for Dick's mansion and, you know, locking the thread and creating a containment thread for it on Kiwi Farms. Just something smells off about it to me. I don't know if you. Yeah.
Well, yeah. No, I like I said, I've been trying to catch up on it. I've watched as much of the streams as I can. I did see that they had a Kiwi thread dedicated to this, so I read through that. But you know, maybe I'm wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure Josh said he'd come on and talk to you, but you didn't want to.
Well, I will talk to Josh. It's just my concern with speaking to Josh at that moment in time is I just didn't want to get piled on by a bunch of fucking spurgs. And I just don't necessarily trust Josh 100%. You know what I mean? Josh just, I hate to say it, he's a little bit of a shady guy. You know, he's recorded people when he said it's a private conversation in the past. He's done things that I don't necessarily think are the greatest in the world, like taking, you know, Bitcoin from Russian intelligence, you know, agents or whatever. You know what I mean?
I don't know about any of that, but
oh shit.
Have you been on stream with him before?
I have, yeah. I was about a year and a half ago. I was on a stream with him.
Did he dogpile you then?
No, but that was an instance where it was like we didn't have a disagreement. It was friendly. It was me and him and Coach Red Pill of all people and Godwinson.
I mean, to be fair, you know, I've maybe seen Josh on 10 streams, and I've been on maybe 2 or 3 streams with him, but I don't think I've ever seen him dogpile anybody. I mean, he doesn't strike me as the type of person that would be bringing in 20 people with him.
This is the thing. I just don't know, you know. Right now, I'm in a situation where I just don't trust a lot of these fuckers with New Project 2s, you know. But my experience with seeing your... I used the F slur. You know, we're no longer allowed to say the word faggot. Do you know that? When I was growing up, that was just a term that everybody used. And it wasn't really, you know, it didn't necessarily mean you disparaged homosexuals. You know, it was just, yay, faggot. What's going on? You know what I mean? This was acceptable language. Now, this is a fucking racial slur up there with the N-bomb. Oh, heaven forbid somebody say that either. You know, and you have guys who are supposed to be free speech absolutionists who then celebrate a channel like mine going down, a small channel that really doesn't have much influence in reality, you know, less than 3,000 subs, but it has to be shut down. And I just don't...
Well, I mean, my opinion hasn't changed. I think flagging shit's gay. The issue I've always had with that, and the thing that always annoyed me about it is, if you start taking people down, then there's nobody left to argue with. I didn't like it when it happened to Ralph. I didn't like it when it happened to Destiny. I think it's bullshit that it happened to Low-Tax because Baked Alaska's a pussy that thought Low-Tax saying throwing him in a river with some fucking cement shoes was a death threat. You know, and if it happened to you, it's gay too. And whoever did it's a fag. But I don't know who flagged you.
Well, of course, you know, but I mean, there's some precedent for knowing, right? So I've had my videos get striked before for being reported, and all the ones that have been reported, the first one was a video on Gator, you know, and so because I use the F slur in my video on Gator, where I say that he's Aquaman's sidekick, you know, he's a beta sidekick, but not even to one of the cool superheroes. He's the sidekick to fucking Aquaman. He's the sidekick to a pill-popping, alcoholic, degenerate, redneck, trailer park piece of trash. You know, I said that Gator was subservient. He does it for free. He's a beta. He tries to emulate you with his every action. Kiss up to you, kiss your ring, suck your balls. You know, Gator didn't take too kindly to that. The video was flagged. Every one of my videos that ever gets flagged down has something to do with Ethan Ralph or Gator. And could it be a coincidence? I guess. But it's just funny that every single time I go after these guys, one of my videos goes down. And it's not as though we haven't seen this behavior from him before. I mean, are you aware that I think just of last month, he was saying for his fans to flag JF Garapi?
No, I'm not aware of that.
Well, you know, you're going to have to, I guess, trust my word on this, but there does exist audio of Ethan Ralph saying for his fans to flag JF because JF said to flag Nick Fuentes' stuff. So this is
you've got flaggers flagging flaggers?
Yes. This is what it's come to. This is what it's come to. What the fuck is going on?
Well, it's all very gay if that's what's going on, but okay, so we got to your thing of, so you think, so do you think it's a financially vested interest that's making people defend Dick, or do you think that they're like scared he's going to use their social security number and sell it to a Nicaraguan or Nigerian on the black
market? Leftist at this point policy. But at the same time, they're not like personal like vendettas against people where if you piss off Jack Dorsey, if you say Jack Dorsey is a fag, you know, Jack isn't just going to ban you from, you know, what was he, the Twitter CEO? He isn't going to ban you from Twitter for that. Or the Patreon CEO isn't just going to dox you or give your info to Ethan Ralph or to Zoom. And that's one point I want to bring up. Now, you were watching the Nick Rekieta stream.
Yeah.
Did you? Now, you may not have got through the whole thing, but did you get to the part where they wanted to bring Zoom on?
Yeah. No, I got onto that, and then it backfired on them. I mean, I think I said something similar to, who the fuck was it? This is back during like IBS Apocalypse with Joakim.
Yeah.
Where he tried to use, he like brought Zoom on, and then it all exploded in his face. Like, you know,
but I warned them. I said, this guy's a pedophile. This guy's unsavory. This guy, you know, isn't a good guy. He you know, he spies on little girls through alarm systems. It's not confirmed that that's him, but it sounds a lot like him on that video. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. I think Rekieta played it.
That one I don't know either.
Yeah, so that's fine. But
I mean, I've been heavily invested for like 5 fucking months now.
Oh, I know.
So I'm you know, like a lot of this stuff I'm not into. Zoom doing opportunistic trolling, that's just what he does. So I would expect that if you invite him on, he's going to fuck with people.
Well, exactly, you know. But they don't. But why would they want to bring Zoom on the program? They know what he is. They knew what he was, and I warned them what he was. And he came on and he did this doxing of Dick on the air. And then the next day, Dick like makes up with him and says that he's friends with him. And to me, it all smells almost like a collusion, where what it is they've brought Zoom on to dox Dick because everybody already knows his dox anyway. So then it makes it look like Zoom isn't working with them, when in reality, Zoom has Dick Masterson's phone number. How does he have Dick Masterson's phone number? What's the relationship between Zoom and Masterson?
I don't know. I don't know how he'd have his phone number. Maybe he got it from somebody else. Maybe he got it from the website. I literally don't know. This is the back end. And it's a shit show already. You think he'd be spreading it everywhere to get a laugh about it.
Exactly. But Zoom,
but I'm seeing it with neither of them.
But with Zoom, what we got to remember is he is such a fucking wild card and such a fuck dude. I mean, he really will sit on shit for a long time and wait for the right moment to fuck people. We've seen it before with his behavior. So I wouldn't be too surprised if it does turn out that he had something to do with it and he's just waiting to fuck people over, or he's holding it as leverage over people. And this is the thing, is when you have attack dogs like Zoom and Ethan Ralph associated with Dick Masterson, who has access to your personal info, when we know that these guys have done some pretty shady shit to people with their info before, you can see why I might think that people might be intimidated to make fun of Dick Masterson. Do you see where I'm coming from at all, or am I just?
No, I understand what you're saying, but the way I'm looking at it is, you know, this conversation, this concept doesn't exist in a void. You're acting like Dick is the only alternative out there. Subscribestar exists. So, you know, Ethan Ralph, Toad McKinley. I think Toad has a Patreon, doesn't he? You know, so
He does.
you know, what are the revenue streams? Okay, so you know, Ralph can get money from DLive directly, and I mean, you can see what his weekly payouts are on that. Toad can get Patreon money or Subscribestar money. I have a Subscribestar. I'm fairly certain Josh does what all the cryptocurrency shit. So I mean, it's not like
it's not like he's the only game in town, and you have to come to him. That's true, right?
So but yeah, but when you're dealing with the personalities we're talking about, especially I'd say, God, out of all of these, especially Josh. I can't picture Josh as being the type to be like, hey, you better play ball with me or you're not going to get your paycheck. Josh seemed like the type that would go ballistic if somebody told him that.
Well, that's what we would assume to be the case. But I mean, I just see all this defense out of him, all these angry posts and threads and locking threads and hiding threads. And it's just, I've never really...
Well, I think that comes back to the fun of this. I mean, I think it's less to do with the financial shit and it's less to do with Dick Masterson. And it's just mostly to do with the personalities arguing with each other. I mean, you've got a bit of history with Ethan. You know, you went on and kind of bombed the shit out of Dick and Nick. And so now you got all these groups of people screaming at each other over this gay retarded shit.
It's funny. It's funny. And again, Jim, I'm not trying to say 100% Dick is this evil puppet master who's trying to fucking hold everybody down. I'm just saying there are some questions about this. The privacy policy is fucking half not filled out. There are blank sections. You know,
I'm fairly certain that was intentional. I mean, I'm fairly certain the toss and the privacy and all the other stuff was just kind of like a,
it's thrown together to be like, yeah, fuck this. It doesn't really matter.
Well, yeah, it's more of a statement about, you know, the fact that all these sites that have tosses and, you know, all these different service guarantees, they're worthless. They mean nothing. It's just whatever the fucking person that runs it decides that that's what it is.
But I have an issue with somebody who has a personal stake running a payment processor and having access to people's personal info. And that's all I'm saying is he has a personal stake. He has a vested interest in making himself look good. And I could just see it being like, hey guys, just can you do me a favor? Can you help me just make this go away? Can you just say it's a nothing burger? Because if nobody covers it and nobody makes fun of it, then he doesn't get any bad publicity and he gets to skate by on it. And I just think that that's fucking ridiculous. Because if it was Mundane Matt, if it was Tonka Saw, if it was fucking anybody that we all consider to be fucking retarded, Kraut, whoever, people would be all over this. But because it's Dick Masterson, who, you know, people look up to because he made this alternative and he stands up for free speech, and all, you know, they're not that's presented. And I think that that's what the main issue with the DMs is and why he'd want to cover it up more so than people saying, oh, that, you know, he's a simp or whatever. You know, it conflicts with what he supposedly is.
So, I mean, Dick said some cringy shit to get pussy. Right. I mean, I get you. But again, this comes back, at least for me, to two things. One, there's nothing really explosive in it that makes me go, holy fuck. And two, Jesse really fucking just grounded this thing in the beginning. If he had just said, hey, you know, I've got all these DMs and, you know, talking about giving her wings and shit, and this is funny stuff, and look at it, people probably would have got a bigger chuckle out of it. But he turned it into some weird personal army shit, and, you know, he fucking shot himself in the foot with it. And I think you're kind of like conflating the two things of people's reaction to kind of how Jesse presented this to a wider audience and Dick Masterson somehow puppet mastering people to his defense. You know, Dick hasn't messaged me about this. You know, I'll call Dick a faggot right now. Ooh, you know, I don't think he's gonna throw me off new project. And even if he did, okay, so what?
Yeah, no, but what I find interesting though, Jim, is a lot of these guys who are defending him are telling me that they're having like long personal contacts with Dick Masterson. And, you know, they're asking questions about what to say. Like Josh admitted that Toad did that. You know what I mean? So it's like, why the fuck are they going to Dick to ask him permission of what to say and what to do?
Oh, wait, but if there's such hostility.